It began with the sound of a single shovel. A hollow scrape against packed earth, muffled beneath the noise of divided Berlin. Above them, the city was split by concrete and fear. The Berlin Wall, a scar across the heart of Germany. Soldiers patrolled it day and night. Floodlights burned through the fog. One wrong move, and you were shot, no questions asked. But below the surface, a handful of young men dreamed of freedom. They were students, engineers, artists, and idealists from West Berlin. Many had left family behind in the east, trapped behind barbed wire. One of them, Hasso Herschel, couldn't forget his sister. She was stuck under the regime's watchful eye, living just streets away, yet unreachable. So Hasso made a decision. If he couldn't climb over the wall, he'd go under it. In the summer of 1962, a small group gathered in a cellar beneath a demolished bakery. The air smelled of dust and old flour. They brought shovels, pickaxes, lamps, and a plan. From that basement, they would dig a tunnel nearly 150 feet long, stretching beneath the deadly border. They called it Tunnel 57, though later it would earn another name, the Tunnel of Freedom. Every night, they descended into the darkness. They dug in shifts, 6 hours each, crouched low in a shaft barely wide enough to turn around. The heat was suffocating. The air was thick with damp soil and fear. Each strike of the shovel echoed in their heads. If the East German guards detected the sound, or the ground collapsed, they'd die where they knelt. They whispered as they worked, joked, sometimes, anything to keep the claustrophobia away. But the deeper they went, the more the world above seemed to fade. Only the smell of the earth reminded them they were still alive. Sometimes, they could hear footsteps overhead, border guards patrolling with dogs. Once, a soldier paused right above them. The tunnelers froze, hearts pounding. No one breathed. The sound of boots scraped the gravel, lingered, then faded. They survived that night. But the fear never left. Days blurred into weeks. Their hands bled, their lamps flickered, their food ran out. Some wanted to give up. Others refused. And then, they struck a pipe. Water burst into the tunnel, flooding it knee-deep. They scrambled to save their tools, choking on mud and panic. The tunnel collapsed halfway back. For hours they bailed water with their hands, their candles sputtering in the darkness. When they finally climbed out, soaked and shaking, Hasso looked at the others and said quietly, "If we stop now, they'll never forgive us. Not the ones waiting for us." He was right. In East Berlin, families waited, mothers, children, lovers, all desperate to escape. They had heard rumors of a tunnel, of hope buried under the wall. So the diggers returned, day after day, night after night. By early October, they were close, just a few meters from an old apartment building on Schönholzerstraße, inside East Berlin territory. If they broke through there, their families could slip underground and crawl to freedom. But the closer they got, the more dangerous it became. The Stasi, East Germany's secret police, had begun hearing whispers. Informants reported strange activity near the border. Patrols doubled. The tunnelers didn't know it yet, but one of their own had already been talking. Inside the dim, earthen passage, as their lanterns flickered and air grew thin, someone among them carried a secret that could destroy everything, and everyone they'd worked for. The tunnel was almost finished, but betrayal was closer than any of them imagined. They never saw it coming. The man who betrayed them wasn't a stranger. He was one of the volunteers, someone who had shared their meals, their laughter, their dreams. The Stasi had pressured him, promising safety, and threatening everything he loved. In a world divided by fear, even the bravest could be broken. But down in the tunnel, no one knew. They kept digging. The final stretch was just ahead. Each shovel of dirt brought them closer to freedom, or to death. Above ground, Stasi officers monitored every whisper, tracing rumors that a passage existed beneath the wall. Agents moved through East Berlin's shadows, searching basements, interrogating neighbors. The air was thick with suspicion. Then, one night in late October 1962, a signal came. A coded knock on the basement door in West Berlin. It was time. After 3 months of digging, the tunnel was complete, a narrow artery carved through fear and concrete. It stretched from the ruined bakery in the west to a basement laundry room in the east. The first group would come through at midnight. Hasso and the others waited, crouched by the tunnel mouth, their lamps flickering against damp walls. Then, faint footsteps echoed from the far end. Voices. Someone whispered, "We're here." One by one, they began to crawl through the earth. A mother with her child. A young couple holding hands. An old man clutching a suitcase of photographs. The air was thick, hot, suffocating. Their elbows scraped mud, their knees sank into water. But ahead, freedom waited. In the span of a few hours, dozens of people made the journey, crawling beneath the most fortified border in Europe. Each emerged into the west trembling, dirty, crying, but alive. 57 in total. 57 souls who had risked everything for a chance to breathe free air. But while they celebrated underground, danger closed in above. The Stasi had finally found them. At dawn, a unit of armed soldiers stormed the apartment in East Berlin. They were seconds too late. The last escapee had just slipped through. Furious, the soldiers fired into the tunnel entrance, sealing it with gunfire and debris. On the west side, the tunnelers heard the echoing thuds and knew the escape was over. But they'd done it. Against all odds, they'd freed their families. The impossible had become real. Still, victory came at a cost. The informer's betrayal became known soon after. His name was whispered like a curse, but Hasso refused to hunt him down. "He's not worth the dirt we dug through," he said quietly. For weeks, the escape dominated Western headlines. Newspapers called it the Tunnel of Freedom, a miracle of courage and defiance. But for those who had crawled through it, the memory was darker, the stench of earth, the scrape of boots above, the silent terror of being buried alive. Then, something unexpected happened. A team from NBC had secretly filmed the entire operation. Hidden cameras had captured the digging, the planning, even the final escape. When the footage aired in America, it stunned the world, a raw, grainy portrait of human desperation and hope. But in East Berlin, the Stasi used that same footage to identify faces. Families left behind were interrogated, punished, or imprisoned. Freedom for some, suffering for others. Still, the tunnel stood, not as a structure, but as a symbol. Proof that walls could not hold back the human will to be free. And yet, in the ruins of that victory, one question lingered among those who survived. What if another tunnel was already being dug, deeper, darker, somewhere beneath the city's silent streets, waiting for its chance to be discovered? Winter came early that year. The air over Berlin turned sharp and grey, and the walls seemed to grow taller, its shadow stretching across both sides of the city. Hasso walked the length of the border one morning, his boots crunching on frost. Somewhere beneath his feet lay the collapsed tunnel, the passage that had carried 57 people to freedom and nearly cost all of them their lives. He had promised himself never to go back underground. But memories had a way of haunting those who survived. Every time a train passed, he'd flinch at the sound, mistaking it for shovels striking stone. Still, he knew their struggle wasn't over. Every day, families still risked their lives trying to cross, jumping from windows, swimming icy canals, hiding in car trunks. The wall was supposed to be permanent, but so were the people who refused to accept it. One evening, Hasso met secretly with another group of students, faces young, determined, like his had once been. They asked him how they did it, how they dug the tunnel, how they stayed alive. He told them the truth. "You don't think about fear," he said quietly. "You think about who's waiting for you on the other side." But he didn't join them. His time as a digger was done. In the years that followed, East Germany grew more ruthless. The Stasi perfected their surveillance. Escape attempts were crushed faster, deadlier. Yet whispers of the Tunnel of Freedom never faded. It became legend, a story traded in hushed voices across barbed wire. Even inside the regime, soldiers spoke of it, of the night 57 ghosts vanished beneath their feet. And the West honored them too. The footage NBC had risked so much to film spread across the world. To millions, it was proof that courage could still exist in a divided world ruled by fear. But those who lived it never saw themselves as heroes. Just ordinary people who couldn't stand to see a wall where family should have been. Years passed. The Cold War dragged on. Berlin changed, slowly, painfully. Children grew up never knowing the other side. The wall became a fixture of life, its grey slabs coated with graffiti and anger. And then, almost 3 decades later, November 9th, 1989, the unthinkable happened. The border guards opened the checkpoints. Crowds surged through the gaps. People climbed atop the wall, cheering, crying, hammering at it with whatever they could find. Hasso was an old man by then. He watched from the same spot where he once dug. When the concrete began to crumble, he felt something shift inside him, not victory, but release. All the dirt, the fear, the years of silence, gone with a single sound. Stone falling on stone. The tunnel had long since collapsed, but its spirit had not. It lived on in every crack that spread through that wall until it finally fell. Hasso never sought fame. When journalists asked him why he risked everything, he simply said, "Because someone had to start digging." In the end, it wasn't just a tunnel that carried 57 people to freedom. It was a message, carved through darkness, sealed with sweat and hope, that no wall, no matter how high, could bury the human need to be free. And beneath the quiet streets of Berlin, long after the guns went silent and the floodlights dimmed, the earth still holds that secret passage, a scar in the soil where courage once crawled, inch by inch, toward the light.